Yeah, yet again. I mean, it was almost if ring night and pounding the Lakers by double digits could have a ho-hum feel to it. That's kind of what it was.
Yeah, by the time the game got going, it got more ho-hum. But ring night, nothing ho-hum about that bling-bling. Every time I come around the city, bling-bling.
Oh my
Those
gosh.
rings. And I like the personalized, you've got 4 chips, so you get the 4-chip ring underneath
did I see Clay? Does it have like a little dial on it where you spun it and like a different... I'm like, is this a kaleidoscope? What do they got
incredible.
going on in there?
It's just fantastic.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
Shout out JTA, maybe for the final time this year.
Yeah.
Neat to see him get his ring, and also his moment with Jordan Poole when they fought for a loose ball, and then they kind of hugged it out after.
Sensual basketball, yeah.
My heart goes out a little bit to JTA for having to be a part of that dumpster fire.
Well, I look, it's no, there's no sympathy for the devil on this one.
Just for him.
Well,
and then we can.
I think he's fine. Like he's a Los Angeles Laker. He's getting paid, and he's got a role. Maybe more than you want JTA to have a role on your basketball team. We love him. I don't think he's the sixth man. And if he is, what did you do to your basketball team? You know what I mean? So no shade there, but the Lakers, boy, it hits you in the face when you watch them play. That is a problem for them. And it's wonderful for the Warriors. Like I thought that they played a B- C+ type of a basketball game, but they won by double digits because A, the Lakers aren't very good, and B, that's probably the best the Warriors can do right now because of their riches. Like the immediate reaction I had to watching this basketball team is twofold. A, it is going to take some time for them to actually play at a high level because of how many players they want to play. That means that rotations and chemistry and knowing where a guy is going to be at. Like, how many defensive breakdowns did you see after a made bucket? Throw it down to the other end. The Lakers are laying it in. You can't do that stuff and win a championship. You can beat the Lakers in October. So they're going to have and Steph said it right after the game, we got a long way to go before we're going to figure that stuff out. And I have no doubt that they will. But then the other thing that I would say in watching them is that they're going to have to battle complacency because they can roll out a B- game and beat you by double digits. And they do have so many options. Like, what's it going to take for the Warriors to have a terrible night offensively? Steph has an off night, so what? There's Clay. Clay has an off night, so what? There's Jordan. Oh, Jordan had an off night? Cool, we'll go to Andrew. Do you know how many guys have to have a bad night for them to have a bad night?
Probably 3 of the 4.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 have a bad night. And by the way, Steph Curry has about 10% of his games you could say are bad nights. Clay's a little higher. We don't yet know about Poole, and Wiggins is so damn consistent that his bad night. Wiggins' bad night is a 5 for 14 where you get you 13 points anyway, because that's just what Wiggins does.
Well, one of the very big takeaways is on the immediate. There's way too small of a sample to start painting with a broad.
Is too small of a sample?
I mean, I already know. Like, and this hit our heads too, but. Mickey D on our YouTube. Kuminga looked lost last night. Okay, 888-957-9570. The Kuminga problem. Let's dive into it.
When does Santa Cruz start? Because Kuminga's going to need some time in the cruise, Mark.
So
that's a little harsh.
There's
Steiny.
a long way to go, but if you, and I think this is big, if you wanted to look for things that showed that Andrew Wiggins is going to play this year, like he played at the end of last year. Last night was real good. In fact, he even committed a really dumb foul right before the half.
Aggressive.
What was he doing? He's going for an offensive rebound.
Yeah.
Like Andrew is taking that attitude, the attitude that he had in the playoffs last year, and he is going to apply it to the regular season, which is heavy minutes, hardcore defense, pushing on rebound, and oh, by the way, when you need me to knock down some key threes in the fourth quarter when the other team's making a run, I got you back there too. Wiggins is maybe the most complete Warrior when you look at every single, like, what is it that he's not doing well on the basketball court?
He's doing it all.
Phases of the game.
Yeah, and I think that Wiggins is a classic example of a player who needs to be comfortable. And it took him a while last year to get to that spot where he was able to impose his will on the game. And it was probably maybe March or even April where, that's right, this guy was a number 1 overall pick. And when he plays like the number 1 overall player, last night, 8 of 14, he had 20, 6, and 4, and he was a plus 25. And by the way, he could be at times your 4th best player. If Andrew Wiggins goes for 20 a night and you have Clay and Steph playing well, like you were saying, Mark, and then you throw in Jordan Poole off the bench, it's going to take a real defensive effort to slow this team down. You called it a B- C+ kind of performance. I don't think you're wrong. They scored 123 points.
Yep.
And if you get a $123 and that's a B- kind of ball game, well, good Lord. I mean, they could be offensively, especially, they could be a real juggernaut.
Well, sure, because what you need when we mentioned the big 4 in terms of scoring, but what do you need when it's a little out of sync or guys, the 3-point shots are not falling? Well, you need Kevon Looney cleanups around the rim or finishes. Check. He did that. You need Wiseman to do some finishing around the rim. 4 for 6, 8 points from him. But let's add in the new guys. I love what I saw from JaMychal Green. Knock down a 3, get some rebounds.
5 offensive boards.
I mean, if JaMychal Green, if that's what he's going to bring, he was Otto Porter plus last night. And then DiVincenzo, I thought, was exactly what you need him to be. He's an effort guy. He's an energy guy. He's a knockdown a shot guy. Looked like a heady basketball player as well. Moses Moody, even though they didn't all fall, I thought he looked exactly like you want him to look. He's smooth. He's confident. His 3-point shots, he went 1 of 3, but the 2 that didn't go in were like rattle in, rattle out. I mean, it is such an incredibly deep roster, and once they figure out all the stuff, which is that chemistry, that flow, those substitution patterns, I mean, get a little health blessed in there, and you've got just an incredibly hard basketball team to beat.
And you get into an 82-game season, 81 of those still left to play, and you're going to have a lot of load management. You're going to have times where guys are sitting. Right now we've got Clay and Draymond on minutes restrictions, which is why they didn't get their normal weight of minutes. But the hardest challenge for Steve Kerr, and he spoke to this after the game, is going to be figuring out how to get guys in there and how do you distribute the minutes. Moses Moody only played 8 minutes. There's going to be nights where he'll get 28. There might be some games where he doesn't play at all. So that might be Steve Kerr's biggest challenge, is figuring out the minutes. And, oh, by the way, coming up on a road trip, you got a 5-game road trip at the end of October, including 2 back-to-backs. You've got the 29th and 30th. You've got the 3rd and 4th of November. So you're going to get into load management early in this season where, I don't even know if Clay is still going to play back-to-back.
Well, I mean, he only played 20 minutes last night, but he put up 18 points. Like that third quarter, Clay comes out there and you're like, okay, good. Like any Clay fears that you had, put him to bed. Everything's fine. He talked after the game about being confident in his legs this year. He goes out, goes 6 of 13, 18 points in 20 minutes. I think that looked great.
13 shots in 20 minutes. That is so Clay.
Not shy. Not shy. And you know how many assists he had? 3.
Oh, he had 3.
Yeah,
wow, okay.
He passed the ball too. So
I thought you were setting me up for a 0.
Klay Thompson, by the way, on the TNT set last night, which led to one of the great "What are you doings" that we've had on this show. So sound from the TNT broadcast at Thrive City. Don't stress, Kyle. A few minutes away. Just want to let everybody know. No stress. 888-957-9570 is the number. Your initial reactions to the Golden State Warriors. Now that we've seen an actual game, we will take your calls on that. Sean Salisbury coming up in 18 minutes. Christian McCaffrey trade rumors keep persisting with the 49ers. We'll get into that with Sean. Bobby Marks, there is nobody better in all of the NBA media on the salary cap and the luxury tax than Bobby Marks. So not only will Bobby talk to us about where the Warriors currently are, but after the contracts to Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, where is this all going? And the name Draymond Green keeps coming up in that conversation, and he had a little bit of a weird moment we should discuss at the end of the basketball game last night when he called LeBron James over to the Warriors bench to say hi, and it certainly appeared that some people on the Warrior bench didn't really love that moment. So we'll get into all of that, but we always want to hear from you. Let's go to Pablo in Berkeley on the Warriors. Hey, Pablo, you're on Willard and Dibs. Thank you for calling. What are you doing?
Good morning, guys. I'm, ecstatic on how the night went. It was a fun game to watch. You got to see all of the players. So the thing is, just a couple of quick points. I'm thinking this is the year of the next few where we have a pretty good chance to give Luke Walton's coaching stick a run for its money. So I'm saying 25-0. What is the chance? I also want to know, the starting five aside, the second squad or unit that comes in for the Warriors in the middle of the game to sort of, load management, carry the load, and maintain a lead and play defense. There's not a weak spot in the five. I just can't find it. And where did they find DeMichael Green? And then the last thing is who's going to beat them in the East. I think, just doing quick math, I think the Nets have the best chance, and I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts.
Well, Pablo, my first thought is I love your excitement, and whoa, boy, are you getting ahead of yourself. We're already in June in the NBA Finals, and who in the East is going to beat them? I get it.
And he's talking 25-0 to start, eclipsing the Luke Walton start. I don't like that. I mean, I mentioned the road trip, 5 games, including 2 back-to-backs. And by the way, game 5 of that 5-game trip is a back-to-back in New Orleans. That feels like it's a schedule spot that's going to be a tough one.
I wouldn't be shocked if Nikola Jokic comes in and beats the Warriors on Friday night. And here's why I say that.
Wow.
This is nothing against anything that the Warriors are doing, but there's 2 things that I do think. One is going to have to be a little bit of a battle, and the other one is going to be strategic early in the season. The Golden State Warriors this year are going to have to fight complacency. We've been here before as a franchise when Kevin Durant was on this team. When you come off a championship and you get better and you are fully aware that the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed, it doesn't matter. And you're not going to borrow the famous phrase from Steve Kerr, you're not going to go out there chasing wins. You're not looking for 73 wins this year. You're looking to be healthy at the right time. When you get to April, that's the key. And so for that, I don't think you're going to see the Warriors look perfect every night. And the second part of that is also in order to be ready in April, they're going to want to work on different rotations. Who plays well together?
Right.
How about Moody here? Let's do a little DiVincenzo over there. Let's see what it looks like. And in that process, you're going to have bad nights. And as you learn things about what doesn't work, you're going to get beat sometimes. I completely foresee that as a part of the Warriors' future, or why else would their win total in Vegas be 51.5?
Right.
I mean, based on how they look, it should be 65.
Yeah, 71.5. Right. But it's interesting what you said, because coming off of the championship, they went 73-9 the next year. So complacency wasn't really a factor then, and it was partly because
it was later after that.
Yeah,
right.
they were rolling. But this team, many more veterans, and knowing what we know about what you said, the rotation, and the fact that you're going to want to give minutes to the younger guys. And, the upcoming road trip, as I mentioned, with 2 different back-to-backs, Charlotte and Detroit, and then you've got Orlando and New Orleans, a 5-game trip, is going to be one of those times where you're going to start to load manage guys. And I wonder, whether or not it's, Steph early on. We know Clay's probably going to be slowly built up. Draymond Green on a minutes restriction so far. So there's going to be some spots where you're not scheduling losses, but it's going to be a lot of, hey, Moses, tonight you're going to get 30 minutes.
Well, if I asked you to put an over-under, let's take those first 25 games, whatever they are. Over-under on wins. Well, what would you set it at?
I think 19 would be a good number.
I might take the under, to be honest with you. I feel like after
19-6,
and that's not strategic. That's not me looking at the schedule and going, oh gosh, that's a loss. And this one, that's a win. It's just the way the NBA schedule works. It's the way the Warriors are going to work. They're going to ease their players in to build up their stamina. They're going to try new rotations. Some of them won't work. You're also just going to have the back-to-backs and sluggish nights and things like that. 25 games, I don't know. Warriors probably win 17 or 18 of them. That'd be my guess.
Just glancing at the schedule, and I'm going to allow you to rework your answer if you'd like.
Okay.
You've got Sacramento thrice.
3 times.
Thrice,
Okay.
Mark, in the first 25. You've got 2 Houstons. You've got a couple of San Antonios. So your schedule, not super rugged.
Right.
You do have the 1 5-game road trip, but other than that, you only have a back-to-back Houston and New Orleans. Matt, you have New Orleans twice on the second half of a back-to-back.
You got 2 trips to Phoenix. You've got back-to-back road games in Minnesota and Dallas. I mean, look, Boston is going to come here in early December. This is all in the first 25 games. The Clippers are in there. It's just the NBA. You don't go undefeated in the NBA. You don't go 25-0. It's just not the way it works.
2 Houstons, 3 Sacramentos, and a San Antonio, and you've already beaten the Lakers. That's 7 wins right there.
But is it?
It should be.
Is it? I mean, I went to a game last year. You know this because it ended up being a special game. Brought the kids. It was their Christmas present. Thank you, Santa. And we went and watched them play the Houston Rockets. Oh, go ahead and just... That's a green check.
Definitely.
We're going to put that sucker in the win column.
Remember green checks?
Steph Curry had to hit his first career buzzer beater and go off in the fourth quarter to grab victory from the jaws of defeat. This is the NBA, okay? Mm-hmm. We are going to come in here certain mornings, and the Warriors will have just lost to a team they got no business losing to. Because that's the way it works.
I get that.
That's the way it works.
Especially when you are going to deal with some load management and... the 5-game trip east, you're not going to have all your top guys play all 5 games. Looney and Wiggins, I don't know if you'll load manage those guys. They didn't last year.
They don't seem to want it.
No, it's really Draymond, Clay, and Steph that you're going to worry about. But this year with so many young players, fresh legs, I think that they're going to be really proactive in terms of resting guys early on in the season.